We're live. Now we're live. So this
Now
is
we're
cool.
live.
Yeah, I'm
All
gonna
right.
pop open the comments thing so that when people come in, they can come in and say hello and we can chat. Um, but for posterity, I just want to say that I'm really excited to talk to JA Huss, Julie Huss, and you've been with me virtually my whole audiobook career.
Well, pretty
Um,
much my whole audiobook career too, because I think
yeah.
we were both just starting out. When did you do those books? Was it 2014 or 2015?
Yeah, it was right around there, 2014, 2015. I mean, I had
Mm-hmm.
been doing I had done a few audiobooks before. I had no idea.
Yeah, because I must have found you on ACX. I must have found you
Hmm.
on ACX, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just kind of, so you kind of set me up for for unrealistic expectations, because I just kind of thought that like everybody that I was going to be working for was going to be your the kind of writer that you are. And I have been lucky. I mean, I have to, I really do need to be grateful for, I've
Yeah, you've done a lot of books now. A lot of books.
yeah, and yeah, a whole bunch of really good writers, and I mean, I am thankful, but they're not all that great. But I just kind of expected like everybody was going to be like a New York Times best-selling author, hitting me up to write to read the books, and then when Ford came out, um, that's when things like really started to accelerate for me. So I mean, I have to thank you
Oh,
for.
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I generally when somebody was talking to me about, oh, I love your work, they would always say, "Fucking Ford,"
Fucking
and
Ford.
yeah, and that was that was like that was my first my first taste of like doing audiobooks. So I love that. And Ford is just like still. I mean, that's kind of like a calling card, a signature. For me, is like people are like, yeah, one book that I remember you by is Ford. So, and he was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that's like really cool. And by the way, I want to give shout outs in a minute because we've got people popping in saying hi. But Melanie Castillo says she loved your epic EOBS, and that stands for
End of book shit.
yeah, and it's really cool. If when you hear it, like, so my favorite end of book shit was what you did at the end of Sick Heart. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I was yeah, I mean, I think that Ford was just like, it was just the start, and we did Rook and Ronan together, and
And
Spencer.
then Ford, and then Spencer, and
Yeah.
then Meet Me in the Dark. And
Mm.
Meet Me in the Dark is the one where like you nailed that shit. I mean, you did Ford too. You got Ford
Yeah, thank
down.
you.
I loved
Yeah.
Ford. Ford is
Hmm.
perfect. But Meet Me in the Dark is not an easy book. Like it's a dark book.
Yeah, it
Dark book.
was. I mean, and that book was so engrossing. It was really. I mean, that was. I mean, that's a deep dive, and it was. It was like there were times that I'm reading it, going, "Man, this is twisted," and like how you pulled it out so that you really, you dig both of these characters, and you get to know them, and you really feel a lot for them. Made me think to myself, wow, what goes on in this mind of yours that you can come up with stories like that?
Well, we were talking before the live, and I said I'm not really, or I wasn't really a conspiracy theorist
Hmm.
when this whole fiction stuff started. I said I'm a little bit into the aliens, which I'm not anymore, which is funny. I'm not into the alien stuff anymore. But when the Meet Me in the Dark came around, that's really when I had to like stop and go, okay, like, how am I going to pull this off? Because I have a medical background and a
Mm-hmm.
scientific background. So I was like, I needed to know drugs. Like, I was really into this shit. And then I was like,
Wow.
MK Ultra, like, how did they do it? Like, I needed to know, like, exactly how it was done. And so I went way too far. I went way too deep. And like, I got stuck in this rabbit hole for like 2 weeks. Like, all I did was like search Illuminati shit. And like, by the time I was done, I was scared the shit out of myself.
Huh. That's funny. Yeah, you don't want to think about that stuff too much, because then you start thinking about it.
Yeah, you're like, is it real, or are these people crazy? Like, you don't know, because they all kind of look crazy, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. So that one was like, I stumbled into the mind control stuff. And I was like, okay, that was it. Okay, I have to know how this is done. If I'm going to write about it, I need to make it believable. I have to know how it's done. And so that's really where it started. And then what did I write after that? I think social media. So that was like, again, kind of it wasn't kind of like that. It was based off a kidnapping case. It was based off of Elizabeth Smart. Remember Elizabeth Smart?
Yeah. So is this the woman who was
taken
kidnapped
out of her bedroom? Remember, in Utah? Yeah. So the social media, I started going into like case files. Then that's what social media was. That's what the Misters was. And then I didn't come back to this stuff really until the company a little bit. But yeah, it's been a while. Like, just recently I've come back to it, and it's Sickheart was definitely one where, yeah, I had to do a lot of research on that. It was a lot, because I needed to make it believable. That's the only thing. It's like, if I'm going to write this crazy shit, I need people to close the book thinking, I think this probably could happen.
That's maybe that's what was so, and I don't want to give away any spoilers for Sickheart, but, as I'm reading through this, I think that was what was so engrossing about it, was that, as we read, we start to think, wow, this, it's entirely plausible that this could happen. And I mean, and it's scary and it's tragic to think that, but when you think to yourself, yeah, it's more plausible that it could happen than it doesn't happen, is it's pretty scary. But
yeah, so when I started it, I was like, okay, where haven't I been yet? Because I've done private islands to death, right? Like, we all know weird shit goes on in private islands. That's not even
we do now,
right?
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, it has to be on the ocean somewhere, or it's on the moon, right? Like, we're not there yet, so it's got to be somewhere on the ocean. And then I thought, a giant ship or an oil rig. I've always been kind of interested in oil rigs, because I don't understand how they work. They look so small when you look at them, but really they're giant places. Like, just the size of them just trips me out. So that's how that started. It was like, where am I going to put these people? And so it was on the giant ship, which turned into a rabbit hole in and of itself, because of course I did a Google search for world's biggest ship. And so and the ship has a history, all like, you wouldn't believe the dirty shit that goes back with this ship.
Wow.
So yeah, like, this family that owns it go back to like World War II, and they were not on the winning side. So weird.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. My dad was an offshore offshore oil worker. Yeah. Yeah. He would go out on that platform as a kid. I think I was about 3 when we moved to there was Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, and Hawaiian Gardens in Southern California. And we lived in all 3 of those places. Apparently they're like real shitholes, but like not good neighborhoods. But that was back in the 60s. So we just kind of rode our bikes until it was time to come home. But so my dad would tell me stories about not about anything crazy that happened on the actual oil rig, but the roughnecks that he worked with and the shenanigans they would get into, and and the fights that they would get into in bars and stuff. But yeah, it's a whole other world.
Yeah,
altogether.
And you don't live like the rest of the world, right? Like your life is nothing like the rest of the world. I'm really intrigued about that. When I try and pick occupations for characters, I try and find something that's on the outside like that, because if you're too inside, you can't get away with this crazy shit I'm writing, right? So you have to kind of be on the edge or on the outside to live these lives that I make up. So yeah, I liked it. I liked learning about the oil rigs. It was kind of fun. I spent a lot of time researching them because I didn't have any clue about them at all.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You do a lot of research, don't you? That's like a big part of your writing.
Well, you definitely can tell the ones where I do and where I don't. Because there's definitely books where I do zero research, right? But
yeah.
But now that this company world, which is Sickard is kind of in the company world, obviously, it's so involved at this point that every book is a research project. And you're going to be doing Gorgeous Misery, soon, right?
We're like getting all prepped up on that, and I'm seeing files pop up in my inbox. So,
and that's a revisit of Merc.
Back to Merc. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a totally different guy now. It's 10 years later. So he's a totally different guy, but I can't wait for that because
wow.
He's still pretty sneaky. Sneaky.
Yeah, he was just such a hardcore guy.
Yeah, he wasn't
he was not the touchy-feely.
No.
And it's funny, when so I'm reading Spencer, I'm reading Rook, I'm reading Ford, I'm reading these guys, and they're Rook and Spencer. I mean, they could be hardcore, and then comes Merc, and he's like, holy shit, this guy is like, he makes them look like Boy Scouts.
Yeah. For his first chapter, people are like, whoa, what the hell? And it's like. Yeah, well, hey, if that's not your thing, you should probably close the book now because this is where this is going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Here they be dragons.
Yeah.
But so you had mentioned that you wrote sci-fi. Have you ventured into like sci-fi or fantasy or anything like that, or have you been focused on this?
Mostly focused on romance, but I did do that early sci-fi series. Which is like a cult favorite of my, super fans. And then I just did a paranormal romance called Damaged Gods, which did really well. That one did really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So is it kind of like a palate cleanser when you're able to do that? You step away from romance for a little bit and then,
Yeah, because I came off the Bossy Brothers, and I did I did the Harem Station series too, which is also sci-fi romance. Which I'm not a sci-fi romance reader. I'm not actually a romance reader either. So when I do sci-fi, I get a little technical because that's kind of like what I like to read in spare time. But yeah, it was fun. But that series got a little complicated. So starting a new series where I can try not to make it complicated would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah, really. Where you could just you can make things up in your, just from your head and not have to spend a ton of time doing all that research. That was one of the things.
I'm writing about Satyr Chimera or whatever, and Dragon Chimera, and I'm like, you know what? I don't read paranormal romance, so I'm just gonna make it all up. This is brand new rules for brand new world. And so I don't know what the whole dragon world is because I've never read a dragon book. And I don't know anything else about the paranormal world. So all of this is just me making it all up on the fly. And so that's
so
how
cool.
fiction should be, right? Like you shouldn't have to follow, especially in paranormal, vampire rules or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing about the about the paranormal stuff is that there are some things like we all know the general the general things like, daylight is bad for vampires, and
Right.
stakes to the heart are bad, and lose your head, and that's it. And, things like that are, everybody kind of knows those things. But then it looks to me like there are so many paranormal authors who are just saying, fuck it, you know what? I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to
Yeah.
pair this vampire with this shifter, and there's an elf over here, and then we've got some, we've got bear shifters and fox shifters
You've
and
probably narrated some of those paranormal books, right?
mhm. Yeah, and they're fun. I mean, that's the cool thing about what I do is that, I mean, I've got a different a different kind of a genre just about every time. I mean, I've done some sci-fi and some paranormal, and I've got like real super sweet romance, and then I got like a really dirty and gritty romance, and so it's kind of cool. I mean, I enjoy it. It's like all of the books that I do are just like, it's just like lots of variety, and the stuff I read professionally is different than the stuff I read when I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like I get a pretty good, well-rounded, repertoire of stuff to occupy my mind with. So it's pretty cool. I was hoping that that Lessa was going to be able to join us, because I had some stuff that I wanted to do with Lessa Lamb to do like a live reading for Sick Hearts. So I'm kind of hoping, I'm guessing she's tied up, but and like maybe not in a good way, but let's just like she's busy. But or maybe in a good way, who knows? I mean, maybe she's got better things to do at this moment. But I would like to, if I can. I don't know if I've got the trailer, but I'd like to show this trailer, because I think it's I think it was pretty cool the way that it came out. If I can find it, I'll find it in a minute. But I wanted to talk to you about some stuff. Like do you pay attention to the reviews?
A little bit. I don't read them all. I'll
Yeah.
usually read the first page
Mhm.
on the ebooks, and then every once in a while I'll check in on the audiobooks.
Yeah, I do. I have to admit, like, a lot of people that I talk to are like, no, I don't read the reviews. I never look at that stuff, but I'm kind of addicted to it. I have to like go look and see, like, I sort it by like the most recent reviews and stuff like that, because I want to hear what they're saying. Sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes like the really negative reviews are the best, because they're just like ridiculous, that somebody got so pissed off about something that they had to use an entire review just to let you know about something that you did that pissed them off. And I found something that I thought would be fun to show you. So I think it's a review for Ford. And if you want to take a look here, we have good reviews here, 4.5 stars, definitely a crazy ride on Ford's journey. And then love Ford, and JA Huss does it again. And then here's the third review, where one reviewer is just like, had it. And she's got a bone to pick with you, where she's like, again, couldn't care less. And then so we get 5 stars. Performance, story, overall, everything. It's all 5 stars. So she loved the books. But one thing you did that just really pissed her off was you said, or maybe one of your characters said, the phrase is couldn't care less, when apparently one of your characters said, I could care less. So they really got pissed off about the fact that you apparently didn't do that phrase right. What do you have to say for yourself? Look what you've done.
Well, I don't remember using the phrase, number one.
Yeah.
I barely remember anything about those days. But but sometimes it's the character talking, and I don't think people understand that. When you write first person, everything is internal monologue. That's not inside quotation marks.
Yeah.
everything. And so
Hmm.
that's not me speaking as an author. That's not me speaking as a writer. That's the character speaking as a character. So
Right. Yeah.
grammar almost doesn't matter
Hmm.
in a first person present point of view book.
Yeah.
But other than that, like,
Yeah. As long as it matches the character, right? Like if it's
yeah,
what the character
yeah.
would say.
Sometimes it's the character. Maybe I don't remember that instance,
Yeah.
so I can't speak to it like personally. But geez, aren't there bigger things to be annoyed about,
I
right?
know. I know. Well, that kind of like, so I saw that. What made me think about, what made that really kind of stick out to me was, like here I am, I'm like going through these, through these reviews, looking at them, and I see one that's just like, oh wow, this person really is not happy about this, this phrase, and what really made it kind of stick in my mind was that I had just listened to your EOBS at the end of Sick Heart, and that's what made me think about that. So you have to explain for everybody who hasn't um, read or listened yet. You have an EOBS, which stands for
End of book shit. And
yeah,
it's like a author's note, kind of,
hmm,
but it's nothing like an author's note.
yeah, yeah.
So it
It's
really, I just
very
get to
cool.
talk about anything I want, and most of the time there's a relevant point about the book in there. But sometimes there's not. Sometimes I just talk about all kinds of shit. But in
Hmm.
this one, I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about happiness, like people who want to just steal your
Hmm.
happiness, right?
Yeah.
Like I see people all the time online where I just want to roll my eyes or whatever. But do I comment? Do I
Hmm.
ruin their day by being a bitch to them?
Hmm.
Like, no, hopefully I don't. I mean, I'm sure there have been times where I have done those things, and then you always feel bad when you're done, don't you?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
when you take time out of your day to insult somebody, that's never a good feeling.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't understand people who just troll through Facebook or wherever looking for a fight. Like I just don't
Hmm.
understand it. Like how is that not how does that not make people feel bad? And then I start
Hmm.
thinking, well, maybe it makes them feel good, right? And
Hmm.
that's where the danger is, I think, because all of us make mistakes, all of us
Hmm.
lose our temper, right? And write
Yeah.
that comment when we know we shouldn't. But there's people out there who actively look for people to troll and be mean to. And so
Hmm.
the sick heart end of book shit was about those people, like
Yeah.
how to get around it, basically, which is don't interact with them. You don't
Hmm.
interact with them
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
gonna
I
troll.
think that's probably, and now it seems like more than ever before. It seems like there are so many people who are, I don't know, maybe it's just that that, like, on Facebook and all of these social media outlets, you've got the opportunity to, like, be relatively anonymous, or at least you're on the other side of a screen from somebody, so you're not in danger of uh, of actually having to stand up for the things that you say. And then B, it's like everybody's got an opinion, and everybody feels so strongly about these things that really don't have anything to do with anything other than just how they feel at that moment in time.
Right. And I don't know, it's more about impulse control too. Like
Hmm.
people have no impulse control these days, like at
Yeah.
all. They need to go to Sick Hearts camp and like just shut up for a month
Yeah.
and do what they're
Hmm.
told, right?
Oh man, that was a great scene in, like, the whole section in Sick Heart was, it was really, so the part after he meets Anya, and then they end up on the island, and they're training in camp. It was pretty amazing. It's pretty interesting to me that, like, probably the first 2/3 of the book were spent where Court wasn't speaking out loud, and neither was
Right.
Anya. And I mean, it was all like internal monologue and kind of talking back and forth to each other through, through their own, their own interpretations of what the other person was doing and or saying. So it
sign
was
language or eyeballs, or like Anya was certain that nobody could read her mind, right? She's certain that like nobody knows what she's thinking. He's like, bitch, I can fucking hear your thoughts, right? Like you're not fooling anybody.
Exactly. Hey, have you I know that you've seen the Sick Heart trailer, but would you do you think it'd be good to show people the trailer that we have?
Yeah. You found
okay,
it?
let me go ahead and play that real quick.
Okay. Oh, look at that.
Cort Van Breda's body conjures up images of sculpted marble, the pages of a master's sketchbook, or the god Adonis come to life.
Anya. I say her name in my head, memorizing the way it feels, enjoying the hate it conjures up.
His eyes in the photographs I studied were a deep, soulful silver gray, and when his gaze wanders up the side of the command center, it feels like they land right on me. I take a quick step back from the window. I don't want his attention. No one in their right mind wants his attention.
I lock eyes with her as I cross the room. She lets out a breath like she's about to piss herself with fear. Good. You should fear me, little girl. Everyone should fear me.
He's ruthless, they say.
Lazar. He's familiar in an unfamiliar way, and everything about that is ugly.
He is 6'2", 175 pounds, and covered in tattoos.
Because inside my chest beats the sickest heart on this whole ship.
Skulls. He's partial to skulls.
And if I win, none of the guests will rest tonight.
And each one, if the rumors are true, represents someone he's killed.
I don't care how many fights they've been to. I don't care how many ways they've seen it end. I will give them a show they will never forget. I will haunt their sleep like a monster. I will fill their hearts with terror. I will ruin them with the memory of me.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's that book. I mean, I was like when we put together the trailer.
Lex
It
is
was.
here.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw you pop in, Lessa. How are you?
I feel terrible that I'm so late. This was like my
I
nightmare
can't hear.
of like.
I can't hear. Am I supposed to hear?
Oh shit!
Are
Joy,
you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay.
I can't hear.
Okay. Can everybody else hear me? Hi,
Why can't I hear?
Oh, that's interesting. So can you hear me, Julie?
Yeah, I can hear you.
But you can't hear Lessa.
Uh-uh.
All right, Lessa, I'm going to take you out, and then I'm going to put you back in. All right. This is my way of rebooting. Okay. How about now?
Can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
I can.
Fabulous.
Oh, beautiful.
Yay.
All right. Shit, that's the first time like that actually worked for me. So that's kind of cool. I need to go buy a lottery ticket or something.
I think my hair matches the screen, the
Yeah.
orange and yellow of the JA Huss in the background.
I know that. Yeah, I knew that. I planned for that. Yeah, I was really excited about that. I was like, you know what? I think that this logo matches Lessa's hair. So that's going to be really cool when we're all together in this thing. So you've always got a pretty kicking hairstyle going on. I saw a video that you did where you got that new do.
Yeah, I posted it up on Facebook right after I had it done. The color is holding up so well. I've been really impressed.
Yeah.
With it, actually.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
I'm super glad I'm here.
We've been talking about you, and it's been mostly good. So So yeah, we're excited about this. We were talking about
Not that Lessa. She's such a flake.
no, we have been I've gotten a lot of good comments on you with regards to like how our voices sound together.
Yeah.
They
It's
said
super
that
cool to go together for sure.
we're a good match. Yeah. So
Yeah, let's do more. I'm into it.
Yeah,
let's
it's a
do
little
more of that
team-
stuff.
tag
So
team going, little
Betty.
tag team.
yeah, Betty loves your hair too.
Yeah.
So I think you might be onto something. Hello to
maybe.
Elizabeth
It's
Germain.
gonna change every 4 months. That's just how it's gonna be. Every 3 to 4
Every
months.
4
it's gonna
months.
change again.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. Cool. So what's the next one? Are you gonna do something?
Yeah,
Like-
the next one is Christmas. It's gonna be not red and green. I'm a blue and silver Christmas person, so it's gonna be blue with silver tips.
Oh, okay. You like the tinsel, the aluminum Christmas tree type?
Yeah, I'll look like an aluminum Christmas tree. Exactly.
Yeah?
I'm gonna
Okay.
style it like this.
Yeah. We were just talking about people being polarized and pissed off about other people and how they live, and I think that's one of those. That's going to be the next big controversy. Is like who's the traditional Christmas tree, who does the icicle lights, and who does the regular the multicolored lights. That's been a huge controversy for me every Christmas.
I mean, I can see the war. I can see the war coming.
Yeah.
It could
Well,
be
so
controversial.
it's been a civil war in my house because so one of my oldest she's very much like it's got to be all icicle lights and it has to be all the same color lights, and like so my youngest, and they're all pretty much grown. I've got 2/3 out of the house, but one is still in the crib. But so the youngest wanted like all those little the pretty multicolored lights and everything, but the oldest was like, no, you keep it classy. You have to keep it classy.
White lights on.
So this really happened one year. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna throw a bone to my youngest, who was the only one still living at the house at all.
Right.
And I have the center tree in front of the house, and I wrapped that in all the multicolored lights, and I made that look like Candyland. And my daughter, like, actually got pissed off. She was offended. She was like, "Dad, no, that is not going to work."
You're doing it wrong.
And I said, "It's your little brother. Can you just the Christmas spirit for your little brother?"
No.
And like,
No.
if you knew her, you would be. It was so strange. Like she's such an easygoing person, but this one thing, it was like, no. I mean, I didn't change the tree because I have to. A man's got to stick by his principles. But I was scared. I mean, I was a little worried.
I'm a little scared.
So
I'm a little scared of my dog.
yeah. So Lessa, what do you think? What do you think about maybe doing like a live reading?
Yeah, let's do it.
You think it'd be cool?
I think
Okay.
that would be awesome.
So-
Let me pull up the script on a different device other than the computer that I'm looking at with our faces.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and share the screen so that everybody can see the. Now I've got everybody off on the lights. Everybody's got
There we
their,
go. Everyone's
White
got their
lights.
got their opinions on the.
I am a white lights person myself.
I like white lights
White
too.
lights.
Yeah,
My dad was a white light
Well-
person. That's always the way it's been for us. White lights.
I grew up
Classy,
with the
like your
multicolored,
daughter
but
says.
so my wife is, oh my God, she's like Martha Stewart. She has this, and I don't know, she may be growing out of the phase, but she had this phase where it was like teal and white or gray. And so we had a teal and white and gray Christmas. And the Christmas tree was just like, I don't know, it was like something you would see in a catalog. The Christmas, and it was absolutely perfect. You would not believe, like we got the Christmas tree, and the way I've always done a Christmas tree is like you get it, you cut off the bottom, you stick it in the thing, and then you grab the lights and you just like twirl it around the tree, and you plug it in and you throw shit on it, and it's like, bow, it's done, and it looks like an elf threw up on the corner of your house. But no, my wife is like, she individually wrapped every light around every branch around the entire tree all the way up, and she had to get them, down in deep in the tree. And then you're one of those too.
My dad does it that way.
Your dad does it? Oh man,
it's so good though. Like it's just this like.
It looks great. It looks
amazing.
great.
Yeah, there's no big black spot like in my tree. It's always got the black spot.
Dark spot.
Yeah,
right.
That's mine. Mine is like mine is just a catastrophe, and it's like that's the beauty of mine is that it's like there may be you might have like the black hole on one side of it, and I'll just kind of like twist the tree so that it goes more toward the corner.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Yeah, but. No, but yeah, my wife, it's like when she does the tree, it's like it's done. It's like it's like the Hallelujah choir is like so that's what we have to look forward to for Christmas. So I'm slowly coming around. I think if I survive climbing on the roof and putting the lights up, then I figure that's the only battle I have to win is surviving. And by the way, one of the big causes of accidental death in people my age is falling off the fucking roof
during Christmas.
During Christmas,
like specifically putting up Christmas lights. That's totally a thing. Yeah.
Julie, you've got fans.
Fans.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I have to say. So one of the things that I did not tell you, Julie, is that, and maybe you're to blame, but I have always admired ever since Lessa. You weren't here when Julie and I were talking about this, but we kind of like coincided our audiobook journey together.
Cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
So I when I first started doing audiobooks, I was only about a year into doing audiobooks when Julie came along, and I just kind of expected like all of the authors that came to me were going to be like New York Times best-selling authors. But it was so one of the things that really impressed me about Julie is that she has always been so good at engaging her audience. And when as I was learning about, the business of being an audiobook narrator, I thought, I want to be like Julie. I want to do.
And you're totally engaged in your audience. I see you all the time. You're one of the few people I follow on my author page because
oh, cool.
Like that other page is old. Like I made it in like 2012 or something. So I recently started looking at people I was following, and they're like they don't exist anymore. So I like deleted everybody, and I was down to 15 people, and you're one of them. I'm like, I knew.
Thank God I made the cut. All right, I love that. Yeah, I mean that's so you're. I mean, I owe that to you. I saw what you did with your fans, and I loved how. Like you're always there with them, and you're always talking and having a great time with your with your people. And so I thought, I would love to have a tribe like that, like where we're all we're all doing fun things together, and we're all kind of like going through the journey together. So it was that was a very, very intentional thing with me, was that I wanted to be like you.
You wanted to be like me. Aww.
I did. So, all right, let's do this. Let's do this thing. I'm going to share my screen so that we can take so that we can, let me see, find this thing. Where did it go? Hodor. Hey, you know what? So real quick, while I'm looking for this thing, let's see, audiobook notes. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let me. I'm going to share this screen, and then I'm going to explain. Actually, I'll say it while I'm looking. I have never seen that one particular episode where they explain Hodor.
You haven't seen the Hodor?
I haven't either.
Hold the door.
Never saw that one screen.
Like that one episode.
The door.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's like I was interested in like what is this guy's story as we're like watching this thing, but I never saw that one episode, and I still have not seen it. I need to see it.
Yeah, you need to go back and watch that one. That was the big escape, I think. I can't remember that kid's name though. What is it?
He was a big guy.
Yeah, he was a big guy, but he was saving the youngest, not the youngest boy, the wheelchair one. What was
Brand.
his name?
Brand.
Brand.
That's not. I'm still looking for this page. I opened it up.
Well, it's definitely in the email you sent, so you could look there if you want.
I did. Well, I've got
I
it, but the thing is that
I have it on my phone.
like I opened it up on my computer, and only the best for you guys. You know what? I mean, I do my best to prep these things painstakingly, and
everything is so. You're,
yeah,
that's
right.
The thing, though.
Just
You
like
are
clockwork.
So organized, Troy.
Yeah,
You really
just like
actually are.
yeah, you would think so. Like we spent a lot of time
down to it.
going through this stuff.
Yeah.
So like I've got the actual script, and so we can see that. But what I want is the that scene that we put together ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not showing me that one particular screen. I mean, the reason I wanted to see it is the reason I wanted it is because I wanted to show it. Yeah, see, yeah, we have it highlighted. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
I think that my I think StreamYard just didn't like to. Yeah, it didn't want to. It had to refresh or something. So that's my excuse.
Should I mute myself? Can I mute?
No, you don't have to mute if you don't want to. I mean, if you, as a matter of fact, it's probably, this would be great. Like if we screw up, then you can just like say, cut, let's go back.
No, I'm sorry. Reread that line. Julie, you'll be directing us today.
I can't even see it. I'm on my phone, and this like type is so small. My
Oh
eyes are
yeah.
so
Totally.
Oh, it's tiny. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna be like, you guys are all perfect.
Great.
Okay. So
We'll try to be perfect then.
So what I want to do here, so part of this, there's a lot of this is going to be like my
It's all exposition.
Yeah. How about we do? You want to start it from? Well, this will kind of explain it a little bit. I'm gonna do some reading.
I'll
so
jump
that,
in when my lines are here.
Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to start it from this. So there's a part that says, you can be kidnapped by traffickers. You'll be able to catch up, Lessa, because there's like 14 hours of audio before we get to our dialogue. But I think I think it's good to like set up the story so that you kind of understand what's going on, because this is a pretty sick world that we're in. So, okay, are you ready?
I'm super ready.
Is somebody going to say action?
Julie,
and action.
You can be kidnapped by traffickers. You can be sold by your parents. You can come from foster care or an emergency relief tent in some third world country. So that fantasy of mine, that I was someone else, that I am someone else, it's not really wrong. I got here somehow. And even though I've been doing my best to not think about who I really am and where I really came from, it's always been there, in the back of my mind. I am Udolf's son, and he threw me away, probably to save himself somehow, just like I will throw Ainsley away to save myself. Anya gets to her feet and leans out over the edge of the helipad. I grab her leg out of instinct. This makes her look down at me and sign, just looking. 17 languages. That's pretty fucking crazy. No wonder Lazar kept her. I'm sure the people he sent to her, that he sent her to, assumed she could read and write. She's so pretty. These sick fucks like to keep the pretty ones as pets, treat them like daughters, which is a whole other level of sick evil. The daughters don't go to school, of course. They hire tutors for them. But they don't really teach them anything of consequence. They learn a little math. They learn a little reading. They might paint or practice an instrument. But they do not teach the daughters foreign language. It's not like most people are even capable of learning 17 languages. So she's a genius. Now that's the real reason Lazar kept her all these years. She's too smart to let go. Too smart to even kill. So why did he put her up as a sacrifice for this fight? Anya said, if you won, I died, and Udolf's secrets went with me. And if Pavo won, you died, and Lazar's secrets went with you. This is what doesn't make sense to me. What secrets? And why get rid of her now? Anya sighs. Then she starts backing up, her eyes trained on the horizon. What are you doing? She smiles, but doesn't look at me. I get to my feet. Anya, what are you doing? She points to the sea, then looks me in the eyes. And in that moment, I know exactly what she's going to do. Wait. I step in front of her. Why? She doesn't answer me. Just puts her hand out, palm up. I look over at the edge. The steel beam is in the way, but it's a short leap over. Nothing insurmountable. I've jumped off this platform enough times to know that, at least. Then I look back at Anya, take her hand, and the next thing I know, we're running. And then we're flying, falling, plunging, deep and quick, and then slow as the ocean suffocates us. I push pause on life and just open my eyes. And she is all I see. One beautiful blonde girl. Her perfect skin marred now with the scars of her fights. Her eyes open as well. And even though this water is not the kind you find near the shore, it's not the kind that glows turquoise in the sun. It's mostly dark green, cloudy and more like a lake today. Even so, the blue of her eyes is so striking. I forget that I need to breathe. Her hair floats around her face like she is a creature of the sea. A dark, dangerous creature of this sea that makes you want to give up everything and take your chances trying to tame her. My sick heart changes in this moment. It doesn't quite mend, but the hole that once held the missing piece might shrink a little. Then we're rising again, our bodies naturally buoyant, seeking the air we need to live. And when we crash through the surface together, I realize we're still holding hands. She laughs, a real laugh, even better than that first one I heard back on the ship before fight night. She drops my hand and I almost reach for her again, missing her grip immediately, desperately wanting to hold on to her. She wipes her eyes, still smiling, still laughing, spinning around as we tread the choppy water of a tantrum-throwing sea. Then she turns back to me, her face suddenly serious, and she says,
Don't ask me again. Don't ever ask me again.
I'm so stunned by her words, and so enthralled with her sweetness of her voice. I don't say anything back. I just float in front of her, afraid I'll spook her and the magic of this moment will disappear.
This is what I sound like.
She stares into my eyes, so serious.
But it's the last time I'm going to talk to you. Don't ever ask me again.
Then she turns in the water and casually swims towards the underbelly of the rig, rising and falling on the large rolling waves like she really is a creature of the sea, heading for the rusty ladder and leaving me behind. I shake myself out of the stupor she put me in, then swim after her, overtaking her easily, and then finally cutting off her retreat. No. She says a lot of things back to me in a language of her silence. She speaks to me in a language I'm fully fluent in by now, and that's fine, because all I want is her attention. I grab her face, both of my palms flat against her cheeks, and then I lean in and kiss her. Our lips touch, and she tastes like unsettled ocean of regret. Our lower bodies drift closer, our feet making small currents, treading water to keep us afloat. She opens her mouth first, and this causes a rush of satisfaction inside me. Our tongues tangle together, doing a little dance only they understand. It's not a light kiss, but it's not a heavy one either. Her lips are soft and mold against mine in just the right way. I grab her around the waist and pull her right up next to me, pressing us together, trying to make us one as we continue the kiss. She reaches up and threads her fingers into my wet hair, and then she pulls back and shakes her head no. Why? I whisper. She doesn't answer, just turns, reaching for the ladder. Hold on. Hold the fuck on. This is not how this night ends. She turns in the water, eyes flashing.
Why? Because you didn't get sex?
What? No. What the hell, Anya? That's not fair and you know it. I don't care about sex.
You seem to want to have it with me, even though I know you're not supposed to be doing that. Mart told me. He told me I was fucking shit up, and that was one of the examples.
What did he say? You know what? Fuck Mart. This has nothing to do with Mart. This is about me and you. And the fact that after 3 months of complete silence, you just spoke to me. And that's it? Don't ask me again? That's all you have to say? She shrugs her shoulders, her face blank, emotionless. That's an expression I recognize. We all get it at times when we shut down. That's what she's doing. Shutting down so she can get past this conversation and not have to deal with something messy.
That's really all there is to say.
I stare at her for a moment. What are you doing? She points her finger towards the sky.
Trying to go up there.
That's where you're going. No, I want to know what you're doing. Why are you suddenly angry? Because I got you to speak?
I chose to speak. And now I'm choosing not to do it anymore.
So you're what? Failing at that on purpose? Because you're still talking, Anya. And fuck that anyway. No, I have questions for you.
No one gives a fuck about your questions, sick heart.
I narrow my eyes at her. Don't do that.
Don't do what?
Call me that name.
Isn't that your name?
What the fuck is your problem? I didn't do anything. I didn't force you to talk to me. You chose to do that. So if you're mad at yourself...
I'm not mad, and trust me, Court.
She sneers my name a little, and I'm truly baffled at the complete 180 of her mood.
I learned to take responsibility for my own actions a very long time ago. I have no use for blame.
She turns, once again reaching for the ladder. But I place my hand softly on her shoulder. Anya, I'm not here to piss you off. I don't hang around with you hoping for a fuck. And if you're mad about talking to me, then... I blow out a breath of resignation. Then fine. Don't talk. But don't go up yet either.
Why?
She doesn't look at me when she says this. Just stares straight ahead at the rusted out ladder. Because, I sigh, because you're the first person in a very long time who's made me want to talk. She scoffs. No, I say, reading her mind, because I can hear her thoughts like they are my thoughts. And they are, I think, because we are the same somehow. This has nothing to do with you talking to me, Anya. Whatever secrets you're holding for Lazar, I don't want them. I don't need them. That's not why...
Because you're out of here, right?
She peeks over her shoulder at me.
That's why you don't need them. You're out of here.
I let out a long exhale. You know what? 5 minutes ago, we took a leap of faith together.
Is that what you thought it was?
And 2 minutes ago, you made the choice to speak. And you kissed me.
You kissed me!
You kissed me back. And who cares? The point is, we were kissing 2 minutes ago. And now you're just getting all mean on me. I point at her. I know how to read your silence, even when you're saying one thing and thinking the other.
Oh, do you?
You're being nasty because you want to change the subject. And anger is an effective way to do that. Trust me, I've been there. So I see through you, Anya Bokori. She goes stiff, and even over the sound of the waves crashing against the steel pillars, I can hear her loud, deep breaths of frustration, like she's counting to 10 to calm herself down. Then she says,
You know what? That's the whole fucking problem.
She turns all the way around and stares up into my eyes.
Everyone just sees right through me.
I point at her. That's not fair either.
No?
I'm trying to know you, Anya.
You don't need to know me, Court. You're out of here.
Oh. I draw in a deep breath. I get it. I'm sorry. I should have realized quicker.
Don't pretend like you know anything, because you don't.
You're hurt.
I don't get hurt. That ass-kicking Irina gave me.
Not that kind of hurt, Anya. I place my hand flat on her breast, right above her heart. It's thumping inside her chest. This kind. You're mad because I'm leaving. She scoffs. And it occurs to me that this might be the longest conversation she's had in years. Maybe ever. You're wasting it.
Wasting what?
This. I point back and forth between us. She frowns so deep. Her eyes go dark. And then they are glassy with the threat of tears.
There is no this, Court.
Why? Because I'm leaving? What if I wasn't?
You are!
But what if I wasn't?
You are! And you're fucking crazy if you think I'm going to take that away from you. And if you say another word about not getting out, I'll never speak to you again. That's a promise.
She wants to cry. I can see it. Hell, I can feel it. And the realization is like a punch to the gut. Because this is the moment when I truly grasp her hidden darkness. She wants to cry, not because I'm leaving and she's not, but because she thinks she has changed something in me, and she might become the reason I stay a slave forever. Okay, I nod. Fine. Topic over. But don't leave yet. Stay down here with me. She makes a face.
Down here? Where? We're clinging to a rusty stairwell in the middle of a rolling ocean.
I smile and point up. There. Her face follows the end of my finger to the little catwalk-like platform welded between two pillars. It's not much, but it will dry off at least, and we can stretch out and have privacy. She shoots me a look. Shut the fuck up. I'm not trying to get in your shorts. If I wanted to fuck you, Anya Bokori, it would not be hard to change your mind. She huffs. But I don't care about the sex. and I'm insulted that you think I do. She lets out a long, silent breath, then looks back up at the platform.
How do we get up there?
I win. Follow me. We swim over to another rusty ladder on the side of a pillar and climb. This one is truly under the belly of the rig, and we have to climb all the way up to the top and then walk along a wide steel beam and climb down another ladder to the platform. I have no idea what this rusty metal grate affixed to the side of the pillar was used for, but in the years past, when I was out here alone, I used to tether my nets to it, because net fishing isn't something that can easily be done alone. On each end, there's a platform that is shaped to the side of the pillar, so it curves a little. And when Anya and I lean our backs up against the pillar, we are looking out in slightly different directions, with slightly different perspectives. You don't have to talk, I say, breaking our silence. But I would love it if you would listen. She turns her head to look at me. And it's funny, because I don't need her words to hear her talking anymore. She's asking me a question. Listen to what? I have this dream. Did I ever mention that? It's recurring, and I've been having it since I was a kid. But here's the thing. Ever since I met you, it's been changing. For as long as I can remember, the people in my dreams are blank faces, usually black blobs. But sometimes they're white blobs. The point is, they are blobs. At least, they were.
What are they now?
I huff out a little air. You?
Me?
I know it's not really you. You're way too young. I pause, then say, how old are you, Anya? She hesitates.
18.
Liar, I whisper back.
They tell me I am, anyway.
I feel her shoulders shrug against mine.
How would I know?
Well, okay. 18 is too young. They tell me I'm 27, and I'm pretty sure that's true, so you're 9 years younger than me. You were born 5 years after Udolf took me into his house as a slave. There's no way you were there. So I know it's not you, but there is a girl there.
And you think it's me? Why?
It just feels like you.
It's not me.
Maybe not. But I say it like I don't mean it. Because I don't mean it. I know that girl isn't Anya, but I also know she is. That's dreams for you, right? They never make sense, and they only ever give you a glimpse of the truth, never the whole picture.
That's like projection.
Anya says.
Or something.
Close, I say. It's called repression. It's when you rearrange shit in your head so you don't have to see the truth. And in my case, I have suddenly attached you to the face in my memory, even though it can't possibly be you. I pause to look at her, then I smile. I think it's because you are very fucking pretty, Anya Bokori. She blushes, even though I know this is not any kind of revelation for her. She has lived in Lazar's clutches for nearly 2 decades. There is no telling how many times she has been used. And most of those people Lazar gave her to would have said something similar. But the blush is real. I want it to be you. Get it? She nods. I want it to be you because if you were that person, then what I think happened never happened. I sigh a little. It means it was just a dream. I want it to be a dream.
Yeah,
She sighs.
you do want it to be a dream.
And is that a weird response? Or am I just overthinking shit? But before I can ask her about it, she says,
Don't you ever think about revenge?
I turn my head to look at her, then shrug. Don't we all?
Then why not go get it? I've heard you're the most dangerous man on this planet, Court Van Breda.
I smile. I've heard similar. But maybe I'm just holding out for the fairy tale ending, Anya Bokori. She huffs.
Happily ever after?
Among other things.
What's that look like?
I pause there to think about it, then sigh. I don't really know. I guess I never thought it through, but just off the top of my head, I'd say a rescue would be nice.
A rescue?
She scoffs loudly and turns her body towards mine.
Since when does the sick heart need a rescue?
I guess I don't. And I'm not expecting it. But it would be so sweet if, just once, someone would show up at the last minute, right before the bomb ticks down to zero, like in the movies, you know? And someone, I don't know who, someone I don't expect, though. They show up and save my ass in the nick of time. She's silent for a moment, imagining the picture I just painted in her head. Then she says,
You could just save yourself, Court.
I probably could. But I'd have to bite the hand that feeds me to make it happen. And then what? I'm on the run for the rest of my life, hiding in favelas, lurking in jungles. That's not an ending I can live with. So I don't know. I guess I can't answer your question. Or maybe I can. I just don't want to. She looks down at her fingernails, picks at them a little.
It's better that way.
And now I remember what she said. Why do I want it to be a dream, Anya? She shrugs, her shoulders bumping against mine.
Because then it's not real.
Yay! Scene!
Yay,
Cut!
that was awesome,
See.
you guys.
That was so fun.
That was long, wasn't it?
Was
I don't-
it?
that was like, it was great though. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I wish I would have had more like speaking parts for you on that thing, but
I know,
that
this is a weird
was pretty
book.
cool.
Like, there's like no dialogue in this book, even when they're
I mean, there's
talking.
not.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about that book is like you get 2/3 of the way through before they even talk to each other. I mean,
So
the
when you
rest
were
is just like
let's do
monologue.
a live read. I was like, of what?
Yeah.
But like, and like when they do start talking to each other, they do have quite a lot to say to each other. But
Yeah.
no, that was one of the things I found most intriguing about this book. Actually, it's really,
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
it's amazing.
I wonder if there's still people here. Let's see. Yeah, we still have
Is anybody here?
yeah. So let's see. Julie says excellent. Thank you. And then Shannon liked it. Shannon told me though, so Shannon and I are friends. We chat every now and then. And Shannon goes, you know what? Your Mart accent was like all over the place, but it was okay. I'm like, oh shit. But I think I understand. Like, I think I did like when I did Mart, I was trying to do like a Londoner accent. Your accent with Mart was really good, Lessa. But I feel like there's sometimes that Mart was from London, but every now and then he would be from like Australia. So
Yeah.
I didn't
you know,
notice.
Yeah.
I think you guys both did really good with the voices because, yeah, even
Thank
though
you.
there wasn't a lot of talking, I tried to make them all foreign. I think that was a major point in the book is that I didn't want it to be, it wasn't set in America. And I
Mhm.
didn't want the people to be American, like none of them. There was
Yeah.
a couple of kids, but I don't even think I mentioned them. But when I made I had to count up all the kids that were there and give them all names and like nationalities and stuff, even though like 9 of them never got mentioned. But I'm like, I know
Oh,
who
wow.
this kid is. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
had to have all the kids because they're all different ages and there were 20
Mhm.
of them. So I had to like
Yeah.
keep track of them.
Yeah.
So I think there were like 2 American kids that never got mentioned, but
Wow. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember in that one piece where I can't. So they were all on an island, and they were all kind of like they had finished with camp, and the kids were coming up, and they were talking to Mart and Rainer and Court, and they were a lot of the kids had a chance to talk. And,
yeah,
and that
they
was
come off the boat and they come off and
Yeah.
they say
Mhm.
that was such a cool scene, Julie. Oh,
Yeah.
I loved that scene.
yeah, it
yeah, I
was.
really like that too.
I really loved
Zoya was my little favorite by the end.
Zoya is such a firecracker, man. I love
Yeah.
her.
Oh yeah,
Super
she was.
lovely.
Yeah, she was really cool. That's the really cool. I think that people, Julie, people take for granted that. I don't know, like when you write dialogue for different people, it's I don't know if it's easy for you or not, but when it's written as well as you write it, I think people just kind of like expect it. It's like because it's like that's the way people really talk, and
Yeah, that's how I write it. It's just how they talk.
mhm. Yeah, but I don't think it's easy. It's kind of funny. I mean, like I'm not a writer critic or I can't really tell you like I like Hemingway, but I would not, if you were to say, okay, well, so what do you like about Hemingway? I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, it's like
Words and shit.
understated. He like, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand what it is, but it's like when I read his work, I feel like I'm right there. And, the same thing goes
I don't
for
know
when,
how, like, I wouldn't even know how to teach somebody to write because,
Mhm.
like, I really just imagine it in my head and then type it down. That's all I do. But
Wow.
I know what you're talking about, like, because my favorite authors, like, I can know in one sentence if I'm going to like this book. And it has nothing to do with the subject matter. It has nothing to do with the set. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's about the author's voice, right? Like, I can read one paragraph and know in my head, okay, I don't care what this book is about. I'm going to see what it's about. And I'm going to probably at least give it 4 stars because the voice is everything. And that's not something you can teach, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, it really is kind of strange. Like I wouldn't.
What I was thinking about as we were doing this, I was like, hey, what if we think the next one is a duet? That'd be cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
You're on it.
Have you done any duet style books, Julie?
The Creeping Beautiful series has some duet narration in it, but it's not really a duet. It's weird. It's a weird fucking series, man.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, you're gonna see in Gorgeous Misery, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this one is even more unconventional duet than the first 2. So you're gonna see what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool. Well, I know that it takes forever to produce a duet because you've got the actors in different places, and then they all throw their stuff out there, and then the engineers have to they have to put it together, and they have to like insert pauses and make sure that it sounds like it's natural natural pauses between between the actors, and so. It's I admire the engineers who are able to do that stuff.
Ronell is asking if I listen to my books, and the answer is some of them. Okay, I know I've said this before, but I never listen to the sex scenes ever.
Oh yeah,
I have never listened to one of my own sex scenes in an audio. I got to 3-2-1 was the very first one that we did with Podium, and like I just started laughing and turned it off.
Really? Does it make you? Does it get embarrassing when you're like reading the sex scenes that you wrote?
3-2-1 first, like that book is crazy, and like I was just like, this is not my thing. Like I don't even read romance, right? Like I seriously read young adult science fiction. That's like my thing, and so like I just skip over. So I'll go to my favorite scenes. Like that is one of my favorite scenes when they're out there. Having that first talk is one of my favorites, and then when they're in the game room, that's one of my favorites. And then Anya telling Mart off. That was one of my.
Anya telling Mart off was the best. That was so much fun to act. Holy
I
shit, I love that.
love
scene.
that scene. So
I
I listened
love
to,
that
but this book doesn't have a lot of sex scenes, which,
Well, there was, I did get a couple of people like unsolicited who mentioned like that first sex scene with Anya and Court. They were like,
loved it or they didn't like
they
it.
loved it.
One
Yeah.
Or the just with just them.
Not the one that we just did, but the one where they were up on
It
the
was a foursome, right?
Yeah.
not the very first one.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
well,
think
actually,
the first one where they're on just that.
Yeah, so-
when they're on the thing.
Yeah.
On the Weller.
So one person did say, "Oh yeah, that was like super hot," but like 4 people is like, how do you work that? But
I never listened to that scene, so I don't know. I
yeah.
have no idea.
So, but the second scene when it's just Anya and Court, I got 2 people who said that they really loved it. So
yeah.
so you do guys. So yeah, it may be.
Oh, nice.
So but that's not the thing that that's not the first time I've heard that from an author saying that they will not, they just don't like listening to their, to their own sex scenes. It's like really embarrassing to them, or it's it's just like it makes them blush to like hear their sex scenes, performed from the book.
That makes some sense, I guess. Yeah. Totally.
So
Yeah, so
I
I
think
skip around, but I do listen to them. I just skip around a lot because
Yeah.
That's why if people have been reading me for a long time or have read a lot of my catalog, like I don't write as many as I used to. I'm just kind of bored with the sex scenes personally.
it's funny.
I stick them in
think-
there because I feel like I have to, and then I try
Yeah.
to make them, as good as I can, so people are happy.
I think that that's kind of a that's an allegory, or not an allegory, but that's analogous to like the internet. I think when the internet first came out, like the biggest thing about the internet was like, oh my God, you can find porn everywhere, and it's like everybody was like porn, and then they realized, oh wait a minute, there's the Smithsonian museum here, and there's there's like the Library of Congress. I mean, like people started to realize, oh, there's like a whole bunch of other stuff other than porn here. So
Yeah.
like maybe there is like there's a place for sex in in books, especially in romance. But it's not like the the main purpose of the story. It can't be the main
Not
purpose
in
of the
mine.
story.
I even wrote in that sci-fi romance series that I just finished up this year, beginning of the year. In book 5, I didn't have any sex scenes, and I figure, what is book 5? Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah,
Are they going to stop reading?
They're gonna sit down. They're gonna eat ice cream in front of Netflix, and they're gonna fall asleep on the couch, and then they're gonna wake up with cricks in their necks. And
book 6, right? Like, so
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, I'm not writing one. So I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
there you
write
go.
one.
fuck the
Kathy
trend.
just said that she was watching Julie's face while we were reading, and I was like, I bet that was pretty epic. I was thinking about what I was doing and like how we were in the scene, so I wasn't looking at Julie's face, but I bet I'll go back and watch it later.
Yeah, I couldn't see anything because I couldn't share the screen. Like I couldn't look at the screen while I was sharing it, so I was just looking at the Word document. So I hope I wasn't making like really ugly
Troy
faces.
was in his own world. He was totally in his own world.
We were in your world, Julie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we were in Julie's world. Well, I'm starting to feel a little bit guilty because I've kept you for an hour and 20 minutes now. Well, actually, so Julie and I got together like 15 minutes before. And so, yeah, so I've kept you here for a long time.
Did we talk about everything we wanted to? I think so.
Yeah, did we hit all the high points?
I think so. I'm trying to think of like any questions that I had that I didn't. Oh, look at that! So the Aussie fans, I didn't even think about this, are actually getting to see it live without having to wake up too early on a Sunday. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Maybe I should do that more often. Like usually when I do a live, I'll do it like at like 7 o'clock Central on a Sunday. But what I should do is like maybe like 8 o'clock Central on a Saturday. So that way, because people on the East Coast, I mean, they're always staying up late anyway. Like even during the week, they'll stay up till midnight.
Everyone on the East Coast stays up late.
Yeah, I mean, they really.
There are no morning people on the East Coast.
Lessa, you're in the Midwest.
I am currently in Minneapolis, but I live normally in Seattle, in the Seattle area, a little south of Seattle, in a city called Kent. But right now I'm in Minneapolis, and then next week I'm going to be in New York, upstate, not in Manhattan, but
Wow.
and then I'm going to a narrator's retreat in Boston the weekend after that.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Little
interesting.
travel.
So is
Travel
this
feels really
like,
weird and surreal right now?
is this all with acting or?
So I went to a narrator's retreat in Cincinnati last weekend, and now I'm visiting a friend of mine in Minneapolis for a week, and then I'm visiting another friend in Ithaca for a week.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, it's very exciting. It's kind of nice to just be like, cool, I went to this retreat and we were all outside the whole time and everything was okay. And like we wore masks and we checked in with people like, are you okay with me being unmasked with you at the table, like eating food? Or something? So we were all like really conscientious, and I came to Minneapolis and I've been wearing like these huge masks on the airplane. So it's like
You look like
I'm
Bane
wearing, like,
from Batman. Yeah.
But I've been wearing a full-on P100 respirator mask in airports and on the airplanes, like just because I just can't fuck with my health. I just can't. I already had COVID once in August. We came back from travel and I had gotten COVID while we were traveling in California. We road tripped down there. And I'm like, okay, if I got COVID on a road trip and we were like being super careful and cautious about everywhere we went being like cloth masks, I'm just not even gonna fuck with airplanes.
Yeah.
Like putting on a P100, that is how it's going. I mean, and so P100, the respirator masks vent externally, so I've got it covered with a filter like taped on there so that it's all like safe for everybody else too, and just in case I'm affected. But like, so yeah, I'm like really trying to be very like locked down about it so that I'm not, but then I'm like, I'm hanging out, I get to hang out with my close friend and a close friend here and her partner, and then a close friend in New York, and spend some time with him. And like, that's super exciting. And then I'm going to go to this other retreat, and that'll be at the end of my trip. So then I'll go back home and I'll take another COVID test once I get home and be like, okay, make sure that, I'll probably quarantine. Like I won't pod up with my regular pod back in Seattle until I'm like tested out.
So your first first trip is like, a set of retreats, and then your next set is going to be a set of like attacks.
Advances, yes, definitely.
You rally. Yeah, you're rallying and doing counterattacks in your next trip out east. So, well, let's make sure that we've taken care of everybody who's been on in the comments.
I did see somebody say that they were really excited to see us narrate, that was exciting for them to watch that. And,
oh, cool.
Yeah, I never get to see it either.
Yeah, and that they wanted to see that more. So I would be super excited about doing more lives. It's really fun.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe we should do that when like it'd be kind of cool. I think that like we're so used to like doing our thing. It's like, I mean, I wake up in the morning and scratching and drinking coffee, and I come down here and I plunk down on my seat, and I'll turn on Steely Dan or whatever. I'll just like listen to music and sing along until my voice is kind of warmed up, and then I'll start narrating. It's like not very, there's nothing very interesting to me about that. But I think people probably would enjoy seeing like, oh, this is how it's done. So
a lot of narrators get on Discord and they'll do lives on Discord. There's a couple of channels where you go on Discord and watch, and I've never gotten into. I will be straight up. I literally don't even know how Discord works. I am such a Luddite when it comes to like social media platforms. Like, but I've been wanting to get on there more. Like there's a bunch of narrators who are on there like all the time. Like Travis Beardsley practically runs his entire life through Discord these days. So it's like, wow, I want to get on there and like hang out more, and like I think that's a fun. Kathy, I don't know why you thought I lived in Europe. I super don't.
It's kind of a European hairdo. I think that's
because I'm super punk rock. That's why.
You're very very kind of continental Europe kind of.
I wish I lived in Europe. That's the thing. Yeah. I love it. I love it there. Yeah.
The one time I've been to Cookie, I love you more too. I love you most.
Hashtag
Steely Dan. I love Steely Dan. But
hi, Cookie.
Yeah. Cookie is awesome. She's so cool.
Awesome. Best.
But I mean, I've been to Europe once, and it was a blast. I mean, it was
I've
really,
been
really
a
cool.
handful of times. I used to go with some frequency because I was teaching dance internationally for a while. It wasn't like super glamorous. It was just like I was teaching like blues and fusion dancing, and it's like a smallish community. But
Square dancing.
I was teaching square dancing internationally. Yeah. No, I wasn't. And also, square dancing is awesome. By the way, have you ever done it? It's so fun.
Yeah. Well, you know, so the last time I did square dancing was
in school.
Yeah, exactly. I did it in elementary school. I really felt like once they taught us how to do it, where they're like, you know, swing your partner around and around, do-si-do, and turn around. Like, you know, the way that they, like, when we got to the point where we could like do that shit, I felt like I was like, I know how to dance now. So
yeah, totally.
do a do-si-do and around the round, and I don't know, I don't remember any of the other ones, but
that's all there is, I'm sure.
But it was pretty cool. So yeah, so I mean, I think that's hey, are you going to Allure next year?
Yeah.
Are you? So you know what we could do? We'll maybe we could get the DJ.
I just almost got tickets the other day, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. I probably will end up going. I'm not sure if we're going to run our dance event that year, and if we do, it'll be a little bit of a nightmare for me to like try and travel during that time. But like, I'm gonna
okay. Well, if you do, they have a couple of dances. There's Prohibition and there's
cool.
Fire and Ice. We could get them to call a square dance for us.
Oh,
that would be cool, right? We would kill it. Julie, do you ever go to those things?
No, I try not to.
Yeah.
I do my best to not show up.
You avoid them.
I've never been. I mean, this will be the first convention I've ever been to. So
I'm going.
I mean, I've been to. I don't know, maybe 100 of them. Like seriously, a lot of them.
Sure.
Oh
totally.
wow.
But I don't.
I mean, you don't get to where you are without doing the convention route for some amount of time, I'm sure.
I will go to Book Bonanza next year, but that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
I have traveled all over, but I'm not a enthusiastic traveler. I spend the entire time wishing I was at home. So.
Oh yeah.
Kind of dumb, right?
No. It's you know what?
I'm there this trip. That's
every time I'm in London, I'm like, yeah, this is good for a day, but like I'm done now, right?
Yeah, and like I left, and I'm like, but my person and my dog.
Right?
Yeah.
Why are they not here? My dog is so cute.
I live in the middle.
I right now.
Literally live in the middle of nowhere, and so I like can barely handle traffic at the town 30 miles away. Like, and so putting me in a city just doesn't go well anymore. I just don't do it.
I'm good for an occasional trip, you know. But when I get back, I'm ready. I'm ready to get back home and get back into my cocoon. But every now and then I do like to there's one in Las Vegas next year that I'm thinking about.
Vegas.
And
I'm going to that one.
Yeah, I mean I love to go to Vegas. I love to gamble. I'm one of those guys who will sit for, you know, I'd be happy to sit for 5 hours at a blackjack table. But it's but it's like, yeah, it's just like a once it's like Schlotsky's. Have you ever had Schlotsky's?
No.
Schlotsky's Diner?
The sandwiches.
Yeah, I think I've had a Schlotsky's.
Oh yeah. Schlotsky's is like the bomb. Once every 5-10 years.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, once every 5 or 10 years, it's like, oh my God, where's this goddamn sandwich been my whole life? But that's all you need for like for like 10 years. You won't have to have another one. So that's pretty much.
I would say I almost missed it this summer. I was almost like, maybe Book Bonanza would have been fun this year. And then it was like,
but that's just because you couldn't.
Because you couldn't. Yeah. And you're like,
yeah.
Yeah, when you can't, you're like, oh shit, I think I would have liked to go this year, but
because I have to sit there and smile, like I have to like.
Oh, you gotta be nice to people.
I have to be nice to these motherfuckers.
So fucking hard for me, you guys. Like,
I get you. I feel you, dude.
I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I think I'll have a good time at this one.
I am an extrovert of all extroverts. I fucking love people. I love being around people. I'm so excited to meet folks. That's me. That's just me. I want to be with the people.
Well, then
I love
you
conventions.
belong at the conventions. Me, I'm like hiding. I'm like, I'm going back to my room now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good for a little period of time. I mean, I have fun for a stretch, but But yeah, it doesn't take me long to be like, all right, I'm good. I would like to go like drink with like one or two people would be great. So
I feel like I
Like,
did. I feel like I did all this in the early days, right? Like when everything, all this success was
I'm so
all
excited for you
new
too,
and
Anya.
fun, right? And then I went to all these things, and there were times during 2016 where I didn't even know where I was waking up, right? Like I was going to so
I've
many
been there.
fucking
I've
things.
been there.
I'm like, what fucking
Super
city
bad.
am I in? Like,
Yeah.
and that's just dumb. I'm a writer, not a rock star, right?
Yeah.
If this is Tuesday, it must be Chicago.
I don't think I ever had that. I mean, I had like my periods of time where my problems. So when I was in radio was when I got into the most trouble, and it would be like I would go like after my shift ended at midnight, I would go to the bar for a couple of hours, and then that's where I would meet my friends, and then we would go hit the after hours parties, and then I got like we did a lot of blow and a lot of drinking, and then but I got to the point where I started losing jobs, and then
That's not gonna work out.
the worst feeling for me was just like driving home, and it's like I was driving this way and the world was driving this way. They were all going to work and living their lives, and I'm like, I'm such a loser. And and then I would lay on my bed like with my heart pounding and like looking at the ceiling going, I really, really want to go to sleep.
When is sleep gonna happen? Yeah.
And then I finally go to sleep, and I'd wake up and I'd go back to work, and then the whole cycle would repeat again.
All over again.
So, and then all my friends started going to jail and getting killed, and so I was like, I think maybe I need to find a different path.
A different hobby, maybe.
But
Yeah,
didn't you
so.
kind of enjoy the nighttime? Like I was
Nightlife person.
a third shift or whatever dispatcher when I was like 20 years old or whatever. And
Yeah.
I used to love like getting off of work at 4 a.m. and like driving home and like everybody had to go to work. And nobody bothered me overnight. Like I would literally give like 4 calls for the tow truck like all night long.
Huh.
So like
I
all
kind
did
of-
was study and watch TV.
Yeah.
I kind of did, but the problem was so my first 3 or 4 years in radio, I worked overnights, and then but the problem is that I would go home, and when I'd get home at like 7 o'clock in the morning, everybody was up and moving around and getting ready to go to work, and then I'd have to go to bed. And all the traffic going on, and like people would call, and all my asshole friends would come over and want to play my drum set, and I'd be like, I'm fucking trying to sleep, and they'd be like, come on, dude, and it's like I never got sleep, and like I did that for such a long time, and when I finally got a day job, it took me all of like one day to get back, get into my circadian rhythm did not cooperate with me on overnights. But I did
kind of
like
liked it. I felt
I
like
loved it. I love it. I
The
worked in movie
people-
theaters and restaurants, and I that's my shift.
I really like the
I'm a very
people,
girl.
like
I
the-
Julianne for you.
living outside and another like existence or something. Everyone was so weird.
A little bit, yeah.
That's the thing is, so the people were like much more interesting. Like I got phone calls, at that radio station from like the oddest people, and we became like our own. We became our
We're
own
all
little,
like,
group of people.
pocket of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I get same thing with
I feel very
waitressing,
interesting
right?
folk.
You only get certain types of people in the middle of the night, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. That's when I learned to take myself off of the public registry for like in the phone book. I remember like there was a lady who used to call me overnights all the time. Her name was Nina, and she was always drunk, and she was always like naked on her waterbed, and she would call me, and she would. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and so my Nina was she was a chola, and she would call me up every night, and she would go, "Hi Troy, this is Nina," and I'd say, "Hey Nina, how are you?" And she'd be like, I'm naked on my waterbed, and I'm just thinking about all the things that I want to do with you, and then like she would either tell me, she would say like, my husband Salvador he's so jealous of you because he gets so mad because I call you all the time, but don't worry, he's in jail right now, so yeah, so he won't bother you. But every now and then, like he would be home and like they would yell and stuff. And one morning, I was sleeping. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I just like kind of fallen into REM sleep.
Salvador comes and knocks on your door right now.
And I actually met Salvador, but the phone rings, and this is like mid to late 80s. So, you have the phone, the industrial phone, that actually went bring, bring. So like the phone rings and I stumble, I like basically fall out of my waterbed. Cause you know how that goes. Like you roll over in your waterbed and it like the wave goes over here and then it just like, boom, it's like, it shoves you out of the bed. So I like fall out of the goddamn bed and I like pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? And she goes, and then the person on the other end of the phone goes, hi, Troy, this is Nina. And I'm still asleep and I'm like, oh, hi, Nina. And I go,
wait,
what are you doing what are you doing calling me at home? And she goes,
God.
I found your number in the phone book. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm an idiot. So that's when I learned how to unlist my phone number. But so do you guys, Lessa, I don't think you would remember, and I don't even know, Julie, I don't know if you're old enough to remember Hands Across America.
I remember Hands Across America. It was,
you do?
I was young. I was super young, but I didn't know a ton about it. But
you remember Hands Across America?
Hands Across America, kind of.
Yeah, so it was. I think it was like a benefit for hunger or homelessness or something.
Okay.
Very cool. It was like, I don't know. We knew how to organize back then because somehow the world, America, anyway, my world had this. There was this Hands Across America thing where everybody from like New York to Los Angeles held hands across America.
Wow.
And so my radio station has this Hands Across America thing, and we're like right there on Central Avenue in downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm like sitting there, we're getting ready to do our Hands Across America thing, and it has to happen at the same time or whatever. And sure enough, I'm like standing there, and behind me I hear this, hi, Troy. And I went, oh shit. And I turn around and this girl looks exactly like I thought except she had clothes on. I mean, she was she was dressed, but I mean, this girl had like a bandana on her face, like, back here, like, the chola bandana, and her hair was all slicked back. And she was like, hey, it's good to finally meet you in person. And there's this guy like behind her. And he's he's got the white T-shirt and the khaki pants and the shirt button, the plaid shirt buttoned up to the very top. And the guy's got his hair is all slicked back, and he's got like teardrops tattooed on his eyes, and he's like like looking around like, I hope my parole officer is not here, And she goes, this is my husband, Salvador. And I'm like, okay, it's been a good run. I'm going to die now. And, but he shook my hand. He never like looked me in the eye. He's just like, hey, nice to meet you. And then, and that was it. But I was like, oh shit, I survived. Nina and Salvador.
You know what the best thing about this story was? It was the waterbeds.
Goddamn, waterbeds sucked, didn't they?
80s were
There was no 70s. Everybody had
God, that was a good idea, dude.
What was the deal with that? Like water
of squishy water in your bed.
And
they were too
cold. Like
they were too cold. And I mean, they were always cold, and you would wake up and you would be stuck in between the mattress and the sideboard. And like how I never burned a hole in it, because you always I would lay down and like grab my ashtray off the thing and like smoke my cigarette. And my dog ate my waterbed one time, and that sucked.
Oh.
And
We
you
got-
flooded your entire house.
my condo, yeah, and
Yep.
we got home,
Yep.
and my girlfriend she went upstairs, and I'm looking around. I hear this dripping, and I look, and there's water dripping from the thing, and she opens. I can hear her open the door upstairs, and I hear the dog just comes racing out, and she comes. My dog Delilah, the retarded Labrador, comes running down the stairs, and she's so excited to see me, but she's sopping wet. And I'm like, what the hell? And then my girlfriend's like, Troy. And I go upstairs, and sure enough, there's a pool where my bed was. And the dog had just had a party on that bed and tore it up. And she had an awesome time. But
That's a nightmare.
yeah, waterbed's a bad idea.
But
Really?
they were so you just say the
They were
word
so
waterbed and
popular.
you're back in the 70s, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're roller skating. You're roller skating.
Yeah, your waterbeds, black lights, roller skating.
Roller skates. I have some friends it's so interesting how things come around. It's so strange to me that the 90s are back right now. What is that? High-waisted jeans, mom jeans are a fad.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Super
And
Yeah.
nobody looks good in them. I'm sorry. They don't.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fashion trend.
Mhm.
Did people look at bell bottoms?
I
Bell bottoms
think
were
some
always
people
cool.
can. Yeah.
Bell bottoms
What
were
I'm
always
wearing
cool.
is always cool.
Yeah. Bell bottoms corduroy, big bell corduroys were the
I
bomb.
had a pair.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
I
they
had a pair when it was retro cool in the 90s.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I I was that was my thing. Big bell cords were my thing. I had tan cords. I saved up for
And they
those.
were Levi's.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Levi's.
Yeah. Me and my Kiss albums and my corduroy pants. It was cool. It was a good time.
Yeah,
It
it
was a
was
really
good
good
Sounds
time.
like it.
I was there
We had-
too.
Yeah, we had Kiss albums and Parliament, P-Funk.
Hey, there you go.
You don't need
And
anything
Led
else.
Zeppelin.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was a great time to be a kid. You had all of these. Yeah, you had Led Zeppelin, Steppenwolf, and Bachman Turner Overdrive, and you had Parliament, and Casey and the Sunshine Band, and Kiss, and Alice Cooper.
And
That was-
Alice Cooper.
That was great, guys. I'm sorry I kept you as long as I did. It's 9:42 Central,
Damn,
and
we talked.
Great.
we did. We had
That's
we talked for a
fun.
long time. And we still have we have 27 people still hanging out with us. So
Damn, you guys are marathoners.
yeah, we've
Bell bottoms.
Michelle, bell bottoms were cool. You take that back, blasphemer.
No,
Touche.
bell bottoms are back. Bell bottoms
They are.
I won't wear
They
them
go
anymore
in and out,
because I'm too
man.
old, though.
They just,
Yeah, bell bottoms are
you can tell
awesome.
the young folks they don't look good.
Yeah, we can do that because we've earned that right. We've been there. We've been through the shit. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go, and thank you
All
for
right, Chris.
for all the time that you spent with me, and
Thank
that
you,
really
Troy,
was
for doing
fun.
this,
Thank
too.
you so much for setting this up.
Both of
I
you.
set an alarm and everything, and my phone was not in the room, and I'm so sorry that I was late, but I really enjoyed
That's
being with
okay.
you guys. It was super
But
fun.
thank
I
you
just-
guys both for doing this book. I really super
Oh, it's
appreciate
so
it.
awesome.
And
Thank you,
it
Julie.
came out
So
so
amazing.
fabulous. I love it. So thank you so much.
I love it too. It was a blast to do. So
Absolute honor for sure. It was
All right,
amazing.
guys. have a great rest of your weekend, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ah,
Bye.
ciao.